Kelly Burke emerges from the blue on a great prehistoric beast, hungry, bent on destruction.
Hey, Christian.
Hey, man.
Hey, man.
How you doing?
How's it going? Good. How's life in Barrington? Yeah?
Just in suburbs. Certain part of me could just, go all suburban.
Well, I'm in Lincoln now, so I'm, let me just grab my guitar. It's right here.
So you know this, you know what I'm feeling. It's,
Yeah, it's a little,
like stress-free,
yeah. Two minds about the whole thing, but I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
How's everybody? How's Jamie? Good. Yeah? Cool. Band going well?
Yeah, not too bad. Practicing in the house once a week or so.
Cool.
You guys practicing here?
Well, we are for a while.
Sucks out.
And every time I wrote a bad review, he would, if it was so much that he couldn't edit it and make it look like I'd written a good review, he would just say he couldn't use it. Is there any way that you could revisit it? Garbage like that.
Right.
And I would say, well, no. I mean, this is a lousy record.
Right.
That's what I thought about.
You're on tracks, just making that single. Have you seen that? It's got a whole YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Well, it has a couple songs, and there's no video. It's just the album cover, and you just play it. And nothing happens, but it's just like that's how people play music now too. They don't even. You don't need any video with it. You just have. But it's got three. It's got the Tell the Devil video now, and it's got.
All right. Well, we'll see what we can work.
Put that Immortals video on there.
What's that?
The Immortals video.
Yeah, then that's on there. I don't know what that is. I guess we just like that.
See, the band was the brainchild of G.W. Mercure. He sort of started the thing. He put an ad on Craigslist. I responded. His idea was we would all meet at this Low Anthem concert. And so that's where we all met for the first time, was at a Low Anthem show. And to begin with, G.W. was really hot to do something that was kind of like the Low Anthem. His idea was we would just take all the instruments that we already had. We would just sort of throw them in a big heap, switch off. We would each, play different instruments on different songs and kind of rotate through. And that's the way we started out. The problem, of course, that became evident very quickly was that we couldn't play all the instruments ourselves. Mike Tomaso was a good drummer, but I couldn't play drums at all. GW couldn't play drums at all. Kelly could play drums a little bit, but not that much. So Mike wound up playing drums on every song. And again, Kelly was the best lead guitarist, so very quickly he wound up playing lead guitar on all the songs. And then it just left me and G.W. Mercure kind of switching back and forth on rhythm guitar and bass. But G.W. wasn't really much of a bass player, so after a while I just said, I'm just going to play bass on everything because this is stupid. And so then we settled into the traditional lineup of, two guitars, bass, and drums, just like everybody else. He's a very resourceful kind of guy. He solves his own problems. Like all of us, he doesn't really have a lot of money to work with, but he's very good at identifying sort of what he needs for his equipment and his instruments. and figuring out the cheapest and easiest way to get the results that he wants. Like for instance, he built himself his own pedal board from scratch, which nobody else in the band would certainly have the ability or the gumption to do. He built himself a Telecaster using a neck from an old Fender Bullet that he had, and he put that onto a sort of a knockoff Telecaster body and installed the pickups and everything. And again, nobody else in the band would certainly have that kind of ingenuity to do something like that.
Yeah, I think we should keep it at 9.
Keep it at, yeah. And maybe even...
And I wouldn't even be surprised if a couple fell off of that even.
Is sitting on a park bench off if that's on?
Tentatively.
Oh yeah, plus sitting on a park bench.
Oh, so that makes it 10? Well, I think that makes it 9, doesn't it?
No.
What are the 9? Read the 9.
10, 11 with too much, 10 with park bench.
Really?
Yeah.
I think a 10 song is not bad.
I like too much. I don't think it's too much.
All right.
Oh, nice. Right into
Okay, it's just you and me now. You really hate Kelly and you want to kick him out of the band, right?
Kelly's the worst. Hey,
Here he
Kelly.
comes, here he
Plus, we're not
comes.
overly tight with it either.
With what?
Too much.
Okay, G.W. Mercure, he's the guy who sort of started the band, and oddly enough, he was pretty much never in a band before, as far as I know. He spent his whole career being this acoustic guitar, singer-songwriter guy, didn't have an electric guitar, didn't have an amp, and then he just goes off and decides to start a band. So he borrowed my amp for about a year, and he borrowed the drummer's guitar for about a year, and we sort of made do, and I kept nagging him and said, you know, you need to buy an amp, you need to buy an amp. And finally he went out and bought like the cheapest, crappiest amp he could find on Craigslist for like $70, and it instantly broke, and he got it fixed, and then it broke again, and he got it fixed, and we went and did this gig, and it broke, and finally I picked the thing up and just like threw it on the floor and said, there, it's broken, just buy yourself a new amp. And he did, and now he's got a pretty good amp. Okay, Mike Tommaso, drummer. I would describe him as having the patience of a saint. I'm constantly picking on him, constantly telling him what to do, what not to do, how to do it, how not to do it. He takes it all in stride with good humor.
How many times around with that lick? Pushing the Kelly.
You just gotta look at each other. I like strange more than weird.
I don't know how to explain it. It's, I don't know.
Maybe we would put it on the next album. How this done.
It's about a lot of weird shit. How's that?
Seems accurate.
I played bass for a long time, about 20, 30 years or whatever. Been in a whole ton of bands, each one suckier than the last. And now I'm in this one. Let's see, what do? I do a little singing, I do a little songwriting. I'm probably the most annoying guy in the band. I constantly pick on G.W. Mercure. I pick on Mike Tommaso a lot. I don't pick on Kelly much, because as I said, Kelly Burke kind of solves all his own problems, so there's not much to pick on Plus, he's much bigger than me, and, you know, therefore I'm afraid of him.
American Wasteland.
I watched that video. I felt stupid that I didn't know it was you, even though it was labeled clearly. Guess I didn't read that part.
Yeah, well.
Hey, my phone should be all set. I gotta
Anonymous guy standing fucking 50 feet away.
It's hard to tell who it really was.
The Immortals?
Yeah.
That's great, man. I found myself watching that the other night. I, you know, had a couple of drinks and I was a little high. And I was watching it. I'm like, man, I'll be goddamned if that's not like fucking a different version of sitting on a park bench. You know?
Hey, the more things change, the more they stay the same, right?
Well, for 84, 85, that was a pretty good sound, I thought. Just that crunch and the fucking simple rock songs, you know?
The Benedictions' first album was called Play Devil Music. I have a copy of it right here. This was recorded in Barrington, in Newcastle Sound Studios, run by a guy called Randy Hunnicky. We had never met the guy, and he had never met us. He had never even heard demos of any of our songs. All we did was we sort of ran in there one day, said, hey, we want to record this album, and we want to do it all in one weekend. You know, is that going to be a problem? He's like, oh, no, no problem. And usually in show business, that means there's going to be a colossal problem. But in this case, it was actually very true. We ran through a whole album. We recorded it in 2 days. Even though he'd never heard the band before, he really had sort of an instinctive feel for what we wanted to sound like. And the whole album worked out very well. And we decided we wanted to go back there and record our second album there at Newcastle as well. The first album, which nobody ever really listened to, was rather well received, critically at least, and I'm quoting here from a Danish website which apparently did a review of the album, and I've got it sort of crudely translated here by Google or something. So what do they have to say about it? They say, from rugged rock and roll in the opener pawn shop immediately turn the heat in the pan. They are living in freedom in spicy rock songs like Light at the End of the Tunnel and Into the Empty. But other styles like country rock, roots, and Americana will be discussed on Play Devil Music. A plate-like rock one moment, but which also subtly making music is. I mean, with reviews like that, you can see why the Benedictions are #1 in Denmark.
I was thinking about I Ain't Coming Back as a first song, sort of like.
No, I'd rather vary that a bit.
You think so?
Oh yeah, you don't want to hit him over the head with that one.
Man, I don't know. I kind of agree with Mike.
Because it's just kind of like the idea of it, like it's signaling this different. I Ain't Coming Back, like from the other album.
Something like Penny Reeves' kind of easy.
What was that? Did
you change the chorus? You were singing something different. It sounded like you were singing Ain't Coming Back.
The storm rolled over the coast. The coast was left rolling. Everything that wasn't tied down was broken, and everything that wasn't broken was stolen. All our old watering holes now, they're nothing but watery holes. Those places that I used to remember, places that used to have souls. Still a bit of a wind is left blowing, and I'm wondering where those old souls are going. They're jumping out of windows out into the sea, wandering out